There were high hopes and big expectations when Brenda Lucki took over as the top Mountie, the first woman to do so permanently, tasked with modernizing the force and rooting out abuses of power. Now, in a message to her Mounties announcing her retirement, Lucki reflected on her tenure. Quote, "I don't enjoy the would have, should have, or could have game. Of course, there are things I could have done differently, but I leave knowing I did my best." And she has faced controversies.
In the last couple of days, I've honestly heard about 15 or 20 definitions of systemic racism.
In 2020, she fumbled with allegations of systemic racism in the ranks and was forced to apologize. Last year, another apology for how the RCMP responded to the mass shooting in Nova Scotia.
I want to apologize for the RCMP, but in such a way that we weren't what you expected us to be.
Lucki faced multiple calls for her resignation, accused of bending to political pressure, and for not speaking up in a cabinet meeting as the government was deciding to invoke the Emergencies Act last year.
Do you appreciate the significance of that scenario?
Yes and no.
We're not even.
This retired Mountie says Lucki wasn't always liked by those under her.
I can say anecdotally, she didn't have full support from the rank and file, and many were feeling rather hurt by the image of the RCMP that was not directly caused by Commissioner Lucki.
The timing of her decision has raised eyebrows. Within a few days, we expect a report from the Emergencies Act inquiry, and next month, one from the Commission looking into the mass shooting in Nova Scotia. In her own words, Lucki says she was conflicted about timing and didn't want to be seen as running away, but adds it was time. Catherine Tunney, CBC News, Ottawa.
And Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton is here. And Rosie, as recently as November, Brenda Lucki said she wasn't going to step down. So what's changed?
Yeah, Ian, I mean, at the same time, the government was saying it had confidence in her. So Lucki may have not have faced political pressure there to go, but I think it's fair to say that the writing on the wall became a little clearer and she wanted to leave on her own terms, which she's doing. Lucki's leadership was certainly damaged over time, and the report into the use of the Emergencies Act may cause more damage. So the timing is relevant here. She also admitted during the testimony at the Emergencies Act inquiry that she was struggling to understand the line between her job as commissioner and her role in the political environment in Ottawa. That's nearly 5 years into the job. Remember, she didn't speak up at the cabinet meeting just before the Emergencies Act was invoked to say, hey, I think there's still more policing tools to use. And her job was to give that very advice. You know, tension between the public safety minister and the commissioner is good. It's even healthy, but it was clearly an ongoing struggle for Lucki.
And Rosemary, what happens next?
I think there's a couple things to watch here, Ian. First of all, does the government just want to appoint another commissioner quickly, use that person to send a signal about the kinds of changes it wants to make, perhaps better reflect diverse communities in this country, for instance? Or does it have the political capital needed to really restructure the RCMP, to make the commissioner's role clearer to everyone? So the government has some big decisions to make here as it goes forward.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Thanks, Ian.